Where's my visual indicator for myself while editing later? There we go. Oh, now it has to readjust. That was terrible. Welcome to the January 2023 State of the Game for Tough Love Arena. I'm your host, Paul, one of the co-creators of Tough Love Arena, and today, for the next hour or so, I'll be telling you all about our game. What's going on, what's some recent stuff we did, what's some stuff to look forward to in the future. Also of note, this is our 2-year anniversary. We originally released the game into public beta on January 1st, 2021. I only started State of the Game about 5 months in, I think. So, this isn't my 24th State of the Game, but it's been 2 years, which is insane. So, we're not slowing down. Thank you all for joining us. I'm sure I'll give a more emotional speech at the end as well. Let's, as always, talk about the past. What did we get done in December? So just a couple big things. We did have travel. We had holidays, so we took a bunch of time off. But right at the beginning of the month, we pushed out the second version of Caber Toss, now complete with the little hugging run. I've been getting mostly positive feedback on that. Some people were concerned about it as a nerf, which I hope to kind of address with that balance patch that came out just a couple days ago. But to me, the big success is that it is now so clearly a different move from normal throw. For people who aren't aware of my issue of this, whenever I would have a chance to playtest with new people, with strangers, so mostly at like events, I'd go to PAX West or whatever, and we'd demo the game, and people would be playing Pork, and especially since we added the new throw button, they would press the special button and see Pork do this, and then they'd press the throw button and see Pork do this. And they would just assume those are the same move. So it was there was a visual difference, but it was small. It was minor. And even from a utility perspective, that's not super clear to people. The fact that, like, well, sometimes I want to throw them behind, sometimes I want to throw them forward and get a combo and blah, 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 blah. So now it is very distinct. It not only is very telegraphically different than normal throw and has its own unique use cases, it also no longer basically supplants normal throw. The only reason you'd ever do normal throw with Pork a month ago is maybe if you're cornered and you want to try and steal the corner, but otherwise, Caber always led to either more damage or better Oki, whichever you preferred. It wasn't really a choice. And now there is a much more significant cost to Caber. There are scenarios where you could definitely tick into throw, and it would be harder with Caber, or even with the new cancel, it would be much more telegraphed. So I find that a tremendous success, and I'm super happy with the artwork that Amy did. It just looks so fun and goofy. I love it so much. Another important update for me that I got out was automating the seasonal theme updates. Anytime we wanted to do something for the season, I would push out like a manual update that would say, hey, now we're on the, and if I just search like Halloween, remove the Halloween patch, remove the Halloween patch, added the Halloween patch, I would manually go in and change the code to say the default costume is now Bloody Beef, and make sure it's unlocked, and make sure you use this different menu art, and then I'd have to go in and manually turn it on like midnight, April 1st or whatever, and then turn it off again manually. So I built in a system that just checks the calendar. And so sure enough, right now, it's the birthday theme. And for anyone curious, these are the current ranges. I might change them. They're very easy to change now, but this is what I came up with as, you know, a decent approximation. And I decided to also base it all on EST time zone. So when this went live for midnight for me on January 1st, Dawn was in chat, and Dawn's in a different time zone, and confirmed that it was showing up for them. So that's just so everyone gets it at the same time. The monthly survey was nice. We didn't get that many responses this week, but I also didn't do a great job of advertising it, and I also cut it a little short because I wanted to get that balance patch out and not have it muddy the survey results. But the important thing is we're still hitting all of our key metrics. People think the game is fun, people think it's easy to learn, people want to play it some more, and people are likely to recommend it. So, happy to see that. Present. What's going on right now? I have to remember to say the title card after I take the drink, because I want to put in the time code at a point where someone could jump to the time code and be like, present, here's the information. And if I say present, and then I take 30 seconds to drink water, then the time code, either I put it early to give you context and you watch me drink water for 30 seconds, or it's afterwards and I'm just immediately start talking. So, I don't know. I'm going to make an effort this time to say present. What are we working on right now? What do I think is the state of the game? For me, gameplay is in a largely good spot. Oh, apologies. I wrote this a little while ago. So that patch just went out. I wasn't sure if it was going to come out before the state of the game. So those beef and pork changes are now out. I think that they're in a good place. I'm curious to see people play with it for a few more days. I'm really curious to see the changes in action at the tournament this Friday. But this is another one of those months where, like, I just did some balance stuff, just did some gameplay stuff, and now I want to go back and focus on some of the larger projects. The main one right now being iOS work. And Amy continues to work on Garlic. And that's, yeah, that's it. So what do we have going on in the future? Quite a few things, actually. First, the birthday tournament. It is this Friday night, January 6th at 7 p.m. EST. Like all the other tournaments, it will have skins up for grabs. So if you enter the tournament, if you simply show up and play your matches, doesn't matter if you go 0-2 and instantly lose in the tournament, you get to keep at least one birthday skin for the rest of the year. If you manage to get top 8, you'll get all 6 birthday skins. And if you manage to win the tournament, you will get a premium account that gives you additional options. And if, in the likely scenario that maybe someone wins who already has a premium account, it'll go to the next highest person who doesn't yet have one. All standard stuff. However, something we're doing that we haven't done in quite a while is we're doing a Matcherino again. So I already put in $100 in my own cash. We'll see if anyone else pitches in. And based on how much money we get, I'm still not sure what the payout will be. If it's kind of low, I'll probably just pay top 3. If we get a lot of money, I'd love to pay all of top 8, but I'm not going to pay people, like $5. So we'll see how that develops in the coming week. If you want to see the Matcherino, it is linked at the top of the Challenge bracket description. And these are the lovely skins that are now currently turned on in default. Oh, I want to actually show this. This is my favorite part of doing the reskinning, is by making them the default colors, you see it on the character select screen. I always think that's so nice. It just looks different, it looks festive. So yes, please, come check that out on Friday. Enter if you want to play and try and win some stuff. Check out the stream if you want to watch, see some high-level gameplay. It should be a lot of fun. We try to do one of these official big tournaments about once every 3 months. So I'm curious to see how people have gotten better since the Halloween tournament. TLA will also be having a little party at Wonderville. So Wonderville is the arcade in Brooklyn that we have the first ever Tough Love Arena arcade cabinet placed in. They had a nice little program that I've talked about in previous State of the Games where they let us set up on their sort of rotation cabinet for a couple months. And they wanted to throw a launch party. I want to be clear, launch party for the cabinet, not for the game. The game is still in beta. We still need to finish a bunch of single player stuff. Yes, this will be just a little bar party. We might run a very informal, and of course, amazing flyer art by Amy. We might run a little informal bracket. I don't know how involved we'll get because we just have the one setup. So maybe just like some quick single limb stuff. And me and Amy will both be there. So if you're in the area and you want to come say hi, please. I'm happy to take a photo, chat, sign things. I don't think I'm that famous or important, but, you know, I'd love to meet people. I'm always happy to meet people, and I can only attend so many events a year, so definitely come out if you're around. Please don't buy a plane ticket to come to this, though. I don't want to promise that rich of an experience. I don't know how crowded or not crowded this bar is going to be, but it should be fun. And lastly, we are at Frosty Faustings in February. So we announced this last month, I think still somewhat tentatively. It has been 100% confirmed. We are going to have a booth in Artist Alley where we'll have a couple of setups and some merch if you want to purchase it. Trying to look around if I have any merch on my desk. Within reach? I have a button, but it's not a button of one of our characters. It's a button of me. This is not for sale. But we will have merch and we'll have setups, and you can come talk to us if you're in the Chicago area. And we're also going to try and run a side tournament, but this is my first time doing this at one of these events. I'm still waiting to iron out the details. If you know that you're attending Frosty and you'd like to help out, I'm also, please reach out to me. We can talk compensation. I don't, you know, I'm not going to ask people to volunteer a bunch of their time. I'm happy to help pay for your effort if you're helping us run the side tournament. So, really excited to see how it goes. And what are we working on this month? That's the, oh my gosh. Am I showing the right slideshow? Okay, yes. Just a little scattered this month. So yes, we're continuing the animation work on Garlic. I know Amy is still working out some of the concept kinks, but it's been coming along well. I'm going to continue to work on the iOS app. It's been slow going because I got distracted last month with all those balance changes with Caber and the patch and everything else, but it's going slow but steady. And I've mentioned in the past, I'm experimenting with cross-ups, so that code branch is still cooking. I still open it up every once in a while and test things out. And prepping for Frosty. Every time we have an event, we need to do some amount of legwork. We're probably going to order more merch. I might need to do a little bit more work on testing hardware and preparing sort of like, you know, an event mode. Make sure that works for what we want to do. And that's it. That is the end of our presentation. So now we will go into our usual Q&A with the audience. Starting now, I will answer any questions posted in chat. If you asked a question earlier, please just repost it so I'll see it. And I'm starting off with Table Rice. Table Rice says, what if the stages were festive? The stages were festive? That's a very good question. I think it really depends on like level of effort. It's no worries, Stable. If it was just like a very quick, simple thing that we just added like a Christmas tree to every stage, or you know, something like a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, I think that might be feasible. But it's hard because we like to do cute shit. Is my word for stuff like that. Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I forgot to do this. We like to do cute shit. We once a year put a lot of unnecessary work into April Fools to make some visual gags, some gameplay gags, and I have no regrets on that. But I try to be very cognizant that development is a zero-sum game, and so any time that I spend, for example, on balancing beef and pork this last month, is time I wasn't able to spend on the iOS app. So, Amy, for example, Amy would be further along in Garlic if I didn't ask them to stop and help me finish the Caber Toss rework. So in that sense, I'm pretty reluctant to pick up cute stuff like that. But it's an interesting suggestion. You know, it could be really fun to do long term. Someday. Curryman asks, what are your thoughts on Goku? It's a cool guy. I've watched a little too much DBZ Abridged, so I definitely have a picture of him in my mind as just being, you know, idiot, neglectful father. I know all the, you know, Piccolo's Gohan's real dad memes. And as a kid, of course, I didn't think Goku was the coolest character. I thought Vegeta was the coolest character. But, yeah, Goku's cool. Neat guy. What was the next question? Dawn asks, can we make Frenzy RCable on block, Mr. Weeks? No! No, I'm not planning on it. For those who don't know, Frenzy, which is Noodle's DP, their reversal, their armored reversal, was RCable for the first month or so. And the design direction I've decided to take the game is that all reversals are pretty committal. So all the reversals now, you might be able to RC on hit, so you could do like a combo follow-up, but on block, no. In the same way that if you whiff a parry, you oopsied. That said, making the armor moves RCable while the parry moves aren't could be a way to help further differentiate armor moves from parry moves, because they kind of win and lose to the same stuff right now, which is one thing I don't love, and I've been very open about. But I'm not planning to do that. Yes, he said the meme guy in the April Fool's patch. Amy did do that. Again, April Fool's is, I think, the place where we indulge. And the gun art for Gunyan, and other fun stuff like that. Table says, what do you think of Noodle's jump cancel? And what are your general thoughts on Rice? I've heard the complaint from a bunch of people now, and that's usually my litmus test. We get haters for all sorts of stuff. I'll have one random person in my DMs just blowing them up, complaining about how like Noodle is OP because they can do combos that last more than 5 seconds, when I don't think anyone thinks Noodle is particularly OP right now. I get lots of opinions. I hear so many opinions. But I start to pay attention if I hear a lot of the same opinion. And I've been hearing some complaints that Buzzsaw is kind of replacing Jump for Noodle, which is, again, something I wanted to be careful about. I wanted all the jump cancels to sort of be a secondary option to the default jump, to have a situation where it's advantageous, but, you know, not always the first pick. I saw some suggestions, this might have been you, Table, about just making it straight up minus on block. Lots of people wanted to do less chip. I'd be open to tweaking it. It was, of the jump cancels, it was the ones that sort of got a last minute change, because originally the jump cancel for Noodle was going to be the helicopter from April Fool's, until I realized really serious issues with Runaway, especially in the mirror. If you were playing in Noodle mirror, there was just no way for the other Noodle to chase you down. And it just had so many issues. So the Buzzsaw was a last-minute replacement for Helicopter when it turned out to be unfeasible. So happy to take a second look. New thoughts on Rice? I don't have any particular thoughts on Rice. I think that, you know, they're strong. They are the strong zoner. They are the Dulcim of this game. People get really salty fighting Rice, but I also know, you know, Rice has weaknesses, and I like that Rice has lower health. I didn't think the dive kick drill was a problem until I got a lot of feedback from people who play the game more than I do, that it was, again, creating these combos reliably enough that it was surpassing normal jump, so we just nerfed that. The teleport nerf was an interesting suggestion, again, I think maybe from Table, simply to help, like, if you have a hard read with some characters, it can still be hard to punish the teleport with Rice, or Rice still gets out of the corner. Adding throw, especially for Pork, who can now caper, and keep corner against a Rice that's just teleport happy. I think that is a very small nerf for most scenarios, but, you know, so it still does the same thing. Teleport still gets you out of stuff. Teleport is still good against jumps. It's good against a lot of stuff. So I'm happy with it. But I view these as very minor adjustments. And Rice's core kit, I'm very happy with. Blue Icy says, and Paul Weeks, in your opinion, what kind of character is Onion, and how should they be played? For example, Rice is a zoner. This is where I think the FGC nomenclature can be a little interpretive. Like, I hear people use words in ways... When they talk about archetypes, everyone agrees on what a grappler and a zoner is. But sometimes people disagree on like what a rushdown character looks like, or a vortex character, or you're just describing like a small subset of their game plan. And I think Onion is a rushdown character. They want to get close, they want to frame trap you, and they try and make you guess, and when you guess wrong, they get explosive damage. I would call that rushdown, and they have some tools to help skip neutral, like Hopkick RC. By the way, how's the connection doing? I'm seeing some warning lights from OBS. It's good now. Audio's fine. We can just roll with it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the help and appreciate the patience. What was I talking about? Rushdown. Yeah. I would call Onion a rushdown character. Esid says, can we talk about beef heavy into lemon? Also, heavy punch combo in corner versus heavy punch combo but end with lemon. Does a whole 6 more damage? Okay, I don't care about the 6 more damage. And if it's the way I think it works, it's kind of like a height-dependent juggle. So if you get that 6 more damage, you've earned it. As for beef into heavy, it has a huge gap. It's even worse than gut punch into... Sorry, as far as heavy into lemon, it has an even bigger gap than gut punch into lemon. So it's totally fake. So I'm happy to keep it. Next question is... Curryman asks, hey Paul, how much would it cost to have you remove Phil from the tournament? Not replying to that. Esid says, any plan on changing the jump attacks more number-wise? Not right now. Anything can change, but I don't have anything planned. Table says, armor and parry are very different. Armor moves loose to meaties, and parries can get baited by delayed buttons, where armor counter hits them except Rex. That's a good point, Table. And I also do think my change to armor and the fact that you can now cancel an armor did help differentiate it, because there are ways that certain characters like Garlic can have counterplay against an armor wake up and not against a parry wake up, right? So, thank you, I appreciate that. Blue Icy asks, what if there's a frenzy cancel that costed 2 bars a meter and left Noodle -5? That could be a thing, but I mean, at that point, just take the hit and then immediately burst. Then it still costs you 2 bars a meter, you lost a little bit of health, and you're probably in a much better situation for Noodle than -5. So, there you go. Dawn says that Noodle's jump cancel the buzzsaw is fine, though. Easton says, if enough people complain, can we get grill time back? Kappa, Kappa, Kappa. No, grill time is the sort of thing, in the way that I originally designed it. Okay, for people who don't know. So, I like armored moves. I like the armored moves in the game, so Chop and Frenzy, because they work as both reversals or anti-airs, and also see use is like combo extensions. So it's just a move with a lot of utility. And that'd be my biggest issue with parries, is that they kind of do nothing. The threat of the parry does something, but you could easily go a whole round and never parry. Whereas, like, you'll probably Frenzy at some point with Noodle. And it can just feel like sometimes they have the parry characters have less moves than their counterparts, because you parry so rarely. This is one reason I don't love parries. However, I loved the art that we had for Beef. I loved the flex. So for a minute last year, I was trying to design essentially a different move using that art. Like, what is a way that we could reuse this art, because art is a very limited asset for us right now, and maybe come up with like a sort of armored move for Beef that wouldn't be the same as Chop. It would have its own advantages and disadvantages. And Grill Time was this attempt to make basically a super slow armored move that did high damage and crazy combos. So it would be impractical to land in neutral. The opponent could just block it, but you could combo into it in very specific juggles. You could cancel the armor early because it wasn't a very good reversal. It had some options, and it had some play. And I think it was actually a lot of fun but it didn't really belong in TLA. You needed the ability to cancel the armor early, in order, and then try and go for punch against a normal attack, in order for it to be like remotely usable. But then that created issues of, like, discoverability. We're trying to be a beginner game, and people would probably just spam this armor tech back and forth. It had issues with tuning. It had issues with how intuitive is this, how applicable is this, and most importantly, it had issues with, I was afraid it was a bit of a noob killer. So for all those reasons and more, it got removed, or not further pursued. I tested it out on Canary for a while, and then we put it in April Fools. I think it was a cool move. I still love the idea of that kind of move. That always feels like such an appealing move to beginners, the like super slow unblockable move type thing, like the big wind-up move. So I'd love to have a place for it, but as people pointed out correctly so, it's not a replacement for parry. So if it did exist, it would be something else. It would just be like, I'd remove the armor entirely and make it instead just some big wind-up unblockable button or something. So that was girl time. Phil says, you mentioned trying to have an official tournament every few months. If the stables are birthday, April Fools, and Halloween, could there be a fourth? I was just talking to Amy about this the other day. So by sheer luck, we already have it that we basically have tournaments the first month of every quarter except for Q3. Meaning that they're all exactly 3 months apart. January, April, and then October to January. So we're just missing one in July. And if we had one in July, then it would be every 3 months. So we are tentatively planning to have some sort of summer tournament. I don't know if we're going to come up with costumes. I don't know if we're going to come up with a more distinct theme than that. But I'm planning to run at least some kind of tournament in the summer. So we have something every 3 months. And honestly, I just sort of dropped the ball this year. It's something I've been planning for a while. But I dropped the ball because we were traveling so much this summer for events. It was the first time we were doing it. It was a lot of work. And I was also personally just really busy ramping up at a new job. So the timing just didn't work out. But this year, if we're thinking about it ahead of time, we can prepare and we can get something ready. Dawn mentions 4th of July. I don't want to do that for the same reason we don't do like a Christmas tournament. If we can avoid it, I like keeping the game essentially secular and apolitical, if I want to put it that way. And I know we have a lot of international players where the 4th of July means nothing to them, so I don't want to get too strongly tied to that. Yeah, the first year, Horson points out, the first year we did a 6-month anniversary. So it could be something like that. It could be our 30-month anniversary tournament. Oh my god, it'll be 30 months. Oh, okay. People, now I'm getting to the reactions to the stream falling apart. Okay. Now we're back to the point where we came back. Dawn asks, what are your opinions on Swiftmaster's pressure in the Lost Warrior matchup? That's a very good question, except I don't play DNF duels, so I don't have any opinions. Dawn says, can we have Girl Time and Parry? Parry's 4S and Girl Time is now at 4S6. Beef Imposter. I can't say anything about Girl Time at this point. Table of Rice says, hi Paul, I noticed people, largely pork mains, suggesting that the running caber has armors. I have a feeling what the answer would be, but what are your thoughts? I thought about this a lot during development, Table of Rice, and the problem is that we don't... Like, it could technically work, and jump could just be the answer. Jump is the answer to it, right? If you jump, you'll avoid it. But then maybe if I program the armor to specifically not work against airborne, then it wouldn't matter if Pork is still doing the running, because I'm not eager to try and program in like the proximity detection that makes like a Hugo or a Zangief whiff their grab once they get to you, even when you're airborne. That could be possible, but I don't want it to be that much of a knowledge check. for something that is also that usually in other games costs a meter. So I think that would be too much of a noob killer. If I tell you that the answer to throws is to punch them, but if you punch this one at the wrong time, you still get thrown, then that is an easy way to make beginners quit the game because that move just seems busted. However, I have thought about giving it a stop, giving it the ability to cancel, whether during the startup or during the run. I am sure that if we tweaked like how much recovery there is, it could be balanced to be either strong or weak. Obviously 0 recovery would be strong, 30 recovery would be weak. So there's probably a number in the middle there that would be useful and interesting. But I'm not in a hurry to add it. But it's on my mental list. Phil says I still miss grill time. Give that shit to garlic or something. You're just saying that because you're playing garlic this week. But you're right, it didn't have to be on pork. Again, as I mentioned earlier tonight, the motivation came art first. If I really wanted to reuse the flex art in potentially a capacity that wasn't a parry. But yeah, the general idea of grill time could be on any character with any art. Esid says, get rid of airline and replace it with empty jump into grill time. Oh, Hydrate Paul. I just saw this. Okay, we have a green... We have a green square, so I will risk reopening the Twitch manager. Which is where I can redeem your points. Let me also just send a message real quick. Oh, Esid, I just saw your DM. Esid sent me a chat of all the questions in case I lost them with the stream. Thank you, Esid. That was very conscientious of you. Okay, finishing up. TLA beach episode. Oh yeah, that's what Amy said. Amy said it could be our beach episode. Amy had that same idea. Mentioned something about putting them all in bathing suits. Ooh. Table says Paul should run the winter tournament in July for the Southern Hemisphere players. That's actually also very funny and smart. Oh, what if the top row was summer and the bottom row was winter to match the hemispheres? Aw. Blue Icy clarifies Alexa only asked about Swiftmaster because I cooked her. I'm not getting involved. Kevin asked, should I get the TLA merch now for the beta clout, or should I wait for the full release for the flavored drip? Why not both, Kevin? But that is the question, isn't it? Esid also points out, yeah, running Caber seems really bad on Meaty. I'm assuming in the conversation about having armor. Yeah, that would be messed up. Boo. Max says, if you could put any TLA character in any other game, which ones would you choose? All of them in a dating sim. Sorry, it's an interesting question, but I don't have an interesting answer for you, Mashbox. I don't know. That's interesting. I know that there was some indie platforming game that, like, put in, I think, Noodle as a character. I think they did it. I think they did this. Or maybe they're just talking about it. This was, like, a conversation 2 years ago. And it probably isn't any of the ones that you're thinking of. I'm not sure how well they would translate to platform, but something like that. Don says, like the rival of Aether's dating sim. See, of course. You know, I don't have any original ideas. Of course Dan Fornes beat me to it. Rumble Arena, is that the name of the game? Blue Icy? What the heck is Rumble Arena? I've never seen this before. No, this was not it. Garlic in a racing game, that would be fun. Table says, thoughts on throw Oki and TLA. Especially for onion and beef, the mix-up heavily revolves around taking throw, since throws only lead to an advantage neutral reset. Well, strictly, possibly 50% life being taken. That is exactly correct. I want the 50-50 to be weighted. So like everything in fighting games, of, you know, are they going to DP when they wake up? It creates that layer of the conservative defender will just take the throw and then try again later in neutral, and only eat 200 damage. But if you are so confident they're going to take the throw, then you go for the strike. Or then if they're so confident that you're going to throw, they'll go for the throw every time. And then once you notice, hey, I keep getting thrown in my Cup, I'm going to try and challenge it. And that's when you get blown up with the frame trap. So, I'm happy with that. What about characters like Carbs and Garlic who can get throw Oki, though Carbs need meter? That was a very intentional, like, niche that Garlic could have. I discovered that early on, and I decided to keep it. Now, again, that is just Oki. That is not, like, a guaranteed combo, right? So, again, it is just more guessing game of, do I take the 200 damage throw into Oki, or do I take the 400 damage combo into Oki? But that is a unique advantage Garlic has, and I like keeping that unique to Garlic. Carbs can do it? Carbs need meter. Is this possible off of whips? Oh, you can RC on hit? Did I do that? That's right. I added the fact that you could RC on block, right? I'm trying to remember. There's been so many patches. Yes, okay. I added RC on block for the third hit because that better matched uppercut and other characters' committal heavy options. And then if it has RC on block, the reasoning goes that it should also have RC on hit, or else that's an option select that you just always mash RC and you'll only get it when it's good for you, when you did it unsafely. Because I used to not have RC on it at all because I didn't like people RCing on hit because there was nothing to do usually. But you can jump in and get a mix-up, so that is something you could choose to do. Or, actually Noodle doesn't even want to do it because Noodle already has the combo into soup, so it doesn't gain anything. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I was also thinking about letting Noodle cancel whip into soup. But that might be a little strong. So many cancels. Okay, it has been about an hour, and well, at least an hour since the stream started. I know we started late and had a bunch of technical difficulties. What a way to run the birthday stream. But looks like we've mostly dried up on questions. Phil says, please no. Any last chance to ask me anything. I'll also take this opportunity to repeat what I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast, which is that the game has been out for 2 years. Some of you have been playing for 2 years. Brief interruption from chat. Fenordian Slip asks, waffles or pancakes? My theory on this is pancakes, then French toast, then waffles are on the spectrum of high risk, high reward. So the worst pancake is worse than the worst French toast is worse than the worst waffle. Like, it's really hard to mess up a waffle. But the best waffle isn't as good as the best French toast, which even then is not as good as the best pancake. So it's this perfect little spectrum. So, like, if I'm cooking or someone I like are cooking and I know how to do it, I will always go for pancakes. If I'm eating out at a restaurant, I'll either do waffles or French toast, depending on how optimistic I'm feeling about the restaurant. Thank you, Fnord. I do have food theory on specifically that one thing. Blue IC Dasani asks, is hydration recommended for optimal competitive performance in TLA? Always. Gotta stay hydrated. Table says, sorry, but to reword, thoughts on carb 5H range, allowing them to get a meaty carb 5HHRC after throw. Oh! That's fine to me because it's far enough away that, like, actually no, yeah, if you go for parry, they could whiff punish it. So it's not really a throw strike mix up because you can just block. You can just block the meaty. And knowing those moves, anyways, word salad. My mind is lost. I'm okay with that with the carves. Yes, the carves can make you block something after you wake up, but so you blocked one more whip in neutral. Yeah, I got anti-brand. So, no more questions. To finish up my little speech, this is gonna be very awkward to watch on YouTube. Lots of starts and stops. It's been 2 years. Some of you in chat have been here for 2 years. That is crazy to me. It has been very fun. Sometimes I can feel like I didn't get anything done in a month, or in a week, or in a day. But that's part of why I started doing this. Start doing this presentation right now, the monthly state of the game, so that every month I could go back and be like, hey, you know, we did some stuff. And then I look through the patch notes, and I realize, oh, I'm not showing my screen. I look through the patch notes sometimes, and I realize how much of my life has gone into this thing. My time, my money, and my heart. And, you know, me and Amy put in that first year and a half on a lark, just to see how far we could take it, you know, give it a shot. But we only kept going because of all you. We only kept going because we had people playing the game. So all of this is your fault. And thank you. On that note, cheers. 2 more years. And I'll see you all this Friday for the 2nd birthday tournament. Go ahead and check our Twitter or Discord announcements. If you want to see more information, the link is challenge.com/TLA2year. We would have commands, but they're not working right now. I can put this in chat. And I will see you all then. Have a lovely evening. Cheers.